welcome to another week of Reasonable Wrestling.
Holla, holla, holla.
Week 10 to be exact.
Should I say hola, hola, hola?
Oh, hey. I am the Most High Chris.
And I am your boy, CT, a.k.a. Chitty Bang.
And we are your wrestling podcast tag team champions of the world. We're proclaiming it right now. So
we want the gold.
We want the gold, sucker. Shout out to ACH. So let's go ahead. It was a busy week. Wrestling was dope. But my high spot of the week, what we usually kick off the show with, was me going home. I was just in Buffalo for a couple days. Little bro birthday. He turned 16, sweet 16. So we threw him a surprise party.
What's his name?
Cameron, my little brother.
Shout out to Cameron. Happy birthday.
So and saw my little bro, saw my grandma, my moms, and my little nieces and nephews. And I spent a lot of time watching wrestling, but not watching wrestling. I spent a lot of time being a wrestler. All they want to do is wrestle. So
that's how it is when I go up there. Yeah.
So I'm not so much in the loop, but I do want to say that wrestling was jam packed with a ton of stuff from Raw, a ton of stuff from SmackDown. Raw is kind of our main thing that we watch when I go home. My little nephews love, Roman Reigns, and my nieces love the whole Raw women's roster.
Okay.
And then SmackDown, my nieces wasn't there, so I love SmackDown. So I watched SmackDown. My nephew spent the whole 2 hours trying to get me to spear him.
Hit him with the spear? He wanted you to hit him with the spear?
He wanted me to take the spear.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And he got a belt, so he kept giving me the belt and was like, "Give me a championship match." Like, man, if you don't,
that's cute.
So yeah,
I mean, as uncles, I've been there. I wrestled my little nieces and nephews just back in the day, but they're getting too old for that.
But I
did too big.
I did come home in time. I caught a flight Wednesday night. Came home in time. Me and the homie CT and Millie, who may make an appearance on this week's episode with her Millie's takes. We watched NXT, which was dope, and then we watched 205 Live together. So we got half of the week. So my high spot had nothing really to do with this week of wrestling. It was just this week of life that kind of revolved around wrestling.
And that's what's important, is to go back to see family and spend that time with them. And while you just...
They went to Raw last week. They told me about that.
They went there?
Yeah, so my little brother went...
In Buffalo?
Yeah, because it was in Buffalo, yeah.
Right.
So... they gave me tons of stories about Raw.
That's what's up.
So that was dope. That was dope. So shout out to the family. Shout out to Buffalo. And let's get really into the week with CT, who has
making me miss my family.
Who has two high spots of the week.
Yeah, I got two high spots. I got one that's kind of like more sentimental. I think we all know which one that is, and one that's all about the storyline and kayfabe. So let's go first with my sentimental real life one, because I think the way they opened up Raw was great. I think that making it important and making the woman and what they've done important and showcasing them in the way they did, and Triple H's speech seemed like it was from the heart. Stephanie seemed like she was from the heart, and Vince was there. Vince was actually in the ring to be there and show his love too. Giving the woman that time and that putting them front and center, showcasing them as, all right, you've arrived, and we believe in you, and setting the stage for them and just making the show about them, I thought was really, really dope. I think it's about time we get a women's pay-per-view. I can't wait to see what they come up with. I know there's a lot of pressure going into the pay-per-view with the women, and I think they can back it up. I think that they can prove us all right when we say we want better women's wrestling and give the divas a chance. I think that they're gonna tear the house down. I think there's a lot of pressure, but I think given the time and all the stuff they're gonna tear the house down. I believe in them. I have utmost faith in them at this point.
Well, with that being said, I'll just piggyback on that. It's well deserved. We actually have tickets to the Mae Young Classic.
That's true.
So we support women's wrestling. We love the Divas women's revolution that started and happened. We definitely, as men and just consumers of wrestling, appreciate the craftsmanship that's been put in by the women. You know what I mean? They are performers. They are entertainers. So to see them get that spotlight, all women's pay-per-view, they deserve it. You know what I mean? They definitely do deserve it. And I think they have an opportunity to showcase more than what we've kind of already seen with the potential. I think we really can get an idea of who and what these women can be. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Too.
I think what's going to happen is they're going to put the very best agents. They're going to put, you know what I mean, the production is going to be A1, of course. And I think Vince was there as the head of it, but if they just give the pin to Triple H because he seems to know how to book his women, if they allow him to write the storyline, like just take as head creative writer over what's happening on Raw and SmackDown, because those storylines will impact the storyline that's going into this pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think when the show started, all the wrestlers and their whole roster, well, most of the roster was on the stage, and Vince was in the ring. And what was funny is that Vince, he said, "Oh, welcome to Monday Night Raw," but then Triple H and Stephanie came out, and Vince didn't say anything else after that. Triple H is the one who really took the reins and made that speech that really was heartwarming and from the heart, and just put these women over. So it makes sense that I think they're kind of angling him as a guy who's. You
also got to understand Vince was the businessman who took the money from a country who wouldn't allow the women to even be on the show.
True.
So, you know what I mean? Vince can't make that speech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was Stephanie and Triple H going into Vince's office, in my personal belief, saying, we have to make
going
this
to
right.
bat for them. Yeah, and make it right for them.
We have to make this right. And
because it is fucked up.
And Vince says, do what you do. Do what you need. Do what you want. And with that as a boss, for you to have trust in your bosses, your underbosses, that's how you remain on top. Yeah. So Vince knows when to step in and he knows when to step out. He knew that contract and that money from Saudi Arabia was really necessary as an add-on. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. You know what I mean? You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know, and that money.
And it's business, and at the end of the day, it's a business. And if somebody's giving you tons of money to put on a show, and they can afford it, and you can pay for fireworks and all that shit, but then one caveat is like, oh, we don't want the woman to wrestle, and our culture doesn't accept that. I personally wouldn't sacrifice my morals, but when it gets to that high of business, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what Vince's where his morals stand in terms of sacrificing the woman for that one show. But they are trying to make it up, and I think that it's the right time to do it. It's the perfect time to do it, actually. And every now and then in wrestling, we get real moments, and I think that was a real moment for these women, for wrestling as a whole. It was a real moment to open up the show. And so off of that, after all this sentimental value stuff, you going home and the women's pay-per-view, let's get with the shits. Let's get down to the storyline and the kayfabe and what we saw this week in wrestling. I think also a high spot of mine was Tommaso Ciampa becoming the NXT champion. It was epic. I was there. Chris, you were there with me. The match was dope. It's awesome. I think the way they're writing the match with, Ciampa just trying to do any dastardly way to win the title, and then Gargano coming out to try and prevent Ciampa, weaves in this whole triple threat dynamic perfectly. So we got Alistair, Gargano, and Ciampa going at it at Brooklyn, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see that match.
Yeah, being at NXT, man, it's really surreal. First of all, let's just talk about that venue and it's really surreal being there and watching that and being in that atmosphere. But as we were watching the match, we were like, he's going over. Mm-hmm. We didn't know how he was going over, but he was going over.
Even Millie said it.
Yeah,
she's like, I think
Millie, she wasn't there, but she watched it on TV.
She watched it on TV. Yeah.
But she even like felt it. Yeah, like, which is a dope story.
Yeah.
That's a, you know what I mean? Like, and you've said it before. You said that Johnny and Champa is the best story in wrestling, period. I don't think there's no way we can deny that right now.
It's
the way
one.
that, and I called it where I say Champa has to get the belt before NXT Brooklyn.
You did.
So, like, we're semi, you know, I don't want to call us prophets, but we got into this podcast because as film students, we like the story that's being told. We like how the strings are pulled and how it's being projected on screen. And from the very beginning of their tag team.
Yeah, just
from their tag team where if you know Johnny Wrestling, you know Psycho Killer. That's the thing. Like that's what I mean. Like so, like, you know, by being wrestling nerds or whatever, when they become tag team, they're a makeshift tag team. Yeah. And then we go through them and see the CWC, and then the turn happens in Chicago. That's damn near 2 years.
It's a 2 years long story that has so many threads of characterization. And I say characterization because that's what makes you connect with these guys in the way that people do, so visceral. Johnny Gargano is a visceral reaction of, oh my God, I want him to win. And Tommaso Ciampa has a visceral reaction of, oh my God, I hate this guy. Unlike anybody I see right now wrestling. It's just super real. I mean, even being there, you know, you're over there like, because you said, Gargano, it's all your fault. And the kid is like, what? You know, like the kid, there's a kid when we're there, and he called out Gargano, and the kid was like, what? How dare you call out Gargano like that? And looked back at Chris with the death stare. But, yeah, these guys give people authentic, real reactions, that people are just really into this feud. Alistair is a bit of a third wheel, but with Gargano costing him the title, it makes sense that he would want to get it back and would have a gripe against Gargano as well. So I think they are doing the best they can to really interweave him in a way that makes sense. So,
but I mean, honestly, I don't mind it being a third wheel thing because Alistair deserved it as champion. When he got the title, his reign has been lackluster per se, and it's not necessarily because of him. It's just how he's been booked and his opponents. You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't really been able to kind of showcase who he is and why he is that person. You know what I mean?
Alistair's gonna be hit and miss. He's gonna be the guy that. You're going to have his feuds where it's like, oh, this is great. And you're going to have the feuds where it's like, the Alistair feud is like lukewarm. And it's kind of like, as I keep saying, like Undertaker. Undertaker had a lot of shitty feuds. But Alistair's in that same mode where he can get away with it.
Stop saying it.
I will continue to say
Alistair Black is Alistair Black.
I know it bothers you, but there's something about him that gives me that vibe. And I'm not saying he's Undertaker.
My thing is he can't have that vibe without, first of all, Tommy Inn was not Undertaker. So this character is Aleister Black has to give me more than how long has he been on the roster? A year? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the flashes of who.
Okay.
The flashes
I think you're misconstruing what I'm trying to say. I think that the vein of a guy who hits a pocket where he doesn't always have to be on top, he doesn't always have to win, and he's always going to be taken seriously because he's always a threat. And he's a darker type character too. Those are the only parallels I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that he has the tenure of Undertaker. I'm not saying he's gonna have the legacy of Undertaker. I'm just saying that he has a energy, a vibe that you can just like, all right, you can take this guy as a threat anytime, and he's gonna have feuds that are not as captivating, like maybe like a Lars Sullivan feud. Even though I personally didn't mind it so much. Those are the parallels I'm trying to make. I'm not saying he's Undertaker and he's going to be the Undertaker. I know it's a big thing to say, and I know it's controversial maybe a radical take, but I just see him as a guy who can be that, because Undertaker was like a calming, constant, and that's what I see Alistair as. That he can be the potential of it.
Well,
I don't see him being a John Cena. I see him being a potential constant and being a champion one day, but he'll be in and out, throughout his career.
Which, I mean, if that's the case, and if with you explaining it like that, then I'll accept it, but we don't have to keep saying it.
Yeah, I got you. I
mean, just because, we'll make the comparisons with Adam Cole and Edge, but I won't keep saying it because I know Adam Cole ceiling is possibly beyond Edge.
Mm-hmm. I think people just gotta understand what I mean when I say it, and maybe I gotta explain it better. Maybe it's me, but that's what I'm trying to say. He's because why I compared him today is because I see him as a guy who's gonna have feuds that are not gonna be the main feud, and that's why he hasn't main evented a takeover yet, but. He has potential to have some really good stuff. I mean, talk about Aleister Black, Bray Wyatt. A feud could be great.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Aleister Black, Finn Balor. Aleister Black, Finn Balor would be freaking fire.
I mean,
if they write it right.
Yeah, and I think that's also too.
I mean, I thought Bray and Finn would be great too.
I think that has an element of that as well, where the writing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Undertaker was protected for so long, you know what I mean? Yeah. And Alistair is too, so I do see the parallel in that. Okay. You know what I mean? My thing is that as champion, and Taker has had lackluster title reign. Yeah. So, but as a whole, I think the three of them, because Alistair obviously is going to take the fall. I think Gargano is going to get crowned.
No, Tommaso's winning this.
No, I don't. Tommaso's not winning in Brooklyn because
he's winning in Brooklyn. I'm telling you right now.
There's no other way. There's no other capsulating moment for Johnny to get the title. You know what I mean? Excuse me.
Maybe New York. I'm just saying in WrestleMania. I mean, I'm not sure if you're gonna ride it out that long.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Johnny not having a title and not snapping, not turning heel. For a whole nother essential, 8 months?
I mean, we can give him a few with Velveteen after this, and it'll be dope.
Velveteen's going up. I think Velveteen will be up by... Velveteen might make the surprise Royal Rumble appearance.
That'd be dope. All right. But yeah, moving on. That was my high spot. Yeah, so let's move on. It's been we talked quite a bit about that triple threat. It's going to be dope. It's going to be fire.
I mean, we talked about it because it's the best thing in wrestling.
It is, honestly.
You know what I mean? I haven't watched a lick of G1, and I told you I'm not going to watch the G1 until I see Kenny and Ibushi. Okay. That, you know what I mean? Like that. I see Tama and Roman talking on Twitter.
Talking shit.
You know what I mean? Or I see that Sonata and Evo are having good matches, and Jay White is still lukewarm. Like, so...
You just had to throw a shot at Jay White just because. It's all right.
So, yeah. So
anyways, let's move on to best written.
Well, what's your best written?
My best written... My best written is a KO and Braun story right now, which is ironic. Because, yeah.
Hold on. Yo, if everybody's listening to episode 10, which you are, I need you to then go back and listen to episode 9, I believe it was. I think it was last week, literally last week, when I said this was a good story.
It wasn't, though, at the time. Now it is.
Continue.
See, KO coming out and just gave us reasons. He gave us depth. He gave us reasons for their feud and made it deeper than it was before. He came out there and he said, hey, after you got thrown off, because if a nigga threw me off a cage, I'm going to be tight. I'm going to want revenge. And Kevin Owens, that guy who's spiteful and vengeful, he's not going to forget that shit. He's going to want revenge, no matter how big and tough the guy is. So he comes out and he says, hey, man, I came out here. I tried to shake your hand. I tried to be your friend. And just because for my son, because he was a big fan of yours, and he was wondering maybe one day he could be a tag team champion with you like Nicholas. But no, you ruined all that. You threw me off a cage. You threatened my life, threatened my career. You tried to end my whole thing for me, and you took everything away from me. I'm going to take everything away from you now. We didn't know what he meant until later on in the night when he had a segment with Kurt Angle and Stephanie and Baron Corbin, where he asked to have a match with Braun at SummerSlam. And the match will be at SummerSlam, KO versus Braun. And the stipulation will be if KO wins by any way. He gets the Money in the Bank briefcase. And KO, of course, delivers it perfectly because he's KO. He's just so good at what he does. And also Braun, his way of talking, he's getting a lot better on the mic. Like he's coming into his own on the mic with his promo with the Jinder coming out and trying to calm him down. And then he's like, get these hands. He gives off the vibe of this brute that is it just seems organic to him. You know, him grabbing the mic from Sunil Singh and just saying, hey, you hold this mic up for me, even though Sunil wasn't holding it high enough for him. He's doing things organically that's not you can tell it's not scripted. You know, Braun, he's thinking about these things on the spot and he's doing it and performing it well. So I'm excited to see this develop because they gave us depth finally, some depth to reasons why they would fight, and moving on forward, I think it adds stakes to that's the key word. It adds stakes to this match, and a reason why I want to watch KO and Braun. Can KO pull it off and get the briefcase? Will Braun keep it? And if Braun keeps it, what's going to happen to KO? Will he die at SummerSlam? Who knows? It's stakes. Adding stakes to this, it means something because it's SummerSlam. You want matches with stakes. You want matches that mean something. I'm sick and tired of seeing matches. They were in a cage match just cause. So like leading up to Extreme Rules, I was not feeling that whole vibe of just them being in a cage match just cause he was bullying him. That's pretty much the story of Braun bullying KO until they get into a cage match and he throws him off. So it was weak. Now, after one show, I feel like, oh, they gave me something here. You know, and that's why that's my best friend.
I completely foresaw.
Yeah, okay.
There are two great performers. Kevin can get pretty much anybody over if you allow him to. Braun is over, so adding a foundation, a backbone, does definitely help this story. You didn't like the bully being the bully aspect or bully being bullied aspect. But to kind of have, like you said, Kevin Owens weaseling his way into a potential Money in the Bank briefcase.
It's just
which
perfect.
We said at the beginning, Braun didn't need.
Of course. And if they give it to Kevin, I'd be like, all is forgiven. But it's not even like I didn't like the bully versus bully being bullied storyline. Is that they didn't tell it. They didn't tell that story. You know, and that's the problem I have with WWE writing sometimes. They, like, even with the way they write things, they could tell it on screen so it's more transparent of what they're trying to go for. You know, if I have to dig deep and figure like, oh, okay, Kevin Owens has done this in the past and now he's being bullied and, oh, okay, now it's a bully versus bully storyline. I don't want to have to do that especially if you're a new fan watching, you're not going to know that. If my girlfriend watches Raw and sees Kevin Owens getting thrown off a cage or he's getting bullied and his car getting flipped over, she's going to be like, okay, why is that guy picking on this guy? You know, like, what's going on? And then I got to explain that to her. Now, if she hears Braun say, like, hey, you've always bullied people and now I'm going to bully you, take this, you know, and that's how it is, I have no problem with it. So, but they didn't tell that on screen, and that's where I think they failed, building up into Extreme Rules. Now, building towards SummerSlam, there's stakes to the match. Kevin Owens has a purpose. He wants to get his revenge. He's doing it for, he always brings up his son and how, I love how when he brings up his son, because it adds it's who he is. It's part of him. It's really, people can relate to that. Oh man, his son liked the guy and the guy took him out. Like, it's something that people can relate to. People have children. And it's like, if somebody did that to me and my children was worried about me, I would want to get revenge too. So it's something that you can relate to, and that's why that's my best friend for the week. And turned me like around 360. Yeah, I mean 180 on this. Real quick.
My best written and sorry SmackDown. I'm gonna show you some love. The continued storyline of Dan Bryan and Miz. Love the Miz. I just like everything he does is good. You know, so I have to give you some love. But my best written of the week was Raw and Elias. Raw was Elias. Okay. Raw was Elias. He was highlighted every hour. They plugged the album or the EP, which is I think is 6 right now or 5 right now, top 5 soundtracks right now. So
that's crazy.
Hopefully, my man getting some coin off of that because I mean, people aren't just downloading it; they streaming it and buying it.
It's transcending. I mean, to put something like a album out solo, I don't think I've ever. Maybe I'm wrong, but John Cena did it.
Cena went platinum before the streams, dog. So
that's true.
Cena's in a different stratosphere, dog. Yeah. But for someone to legit have the ability to, like Elias has superstar potential.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and he has superstar potential because he's able to step out in these different realms and be like Elias can be on Kimmel. Elias can be on Saturday Night Live. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that superstars, Rock, Cena, who else has done Saturday Night Live that we know of? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I can kind of see big things. I can see big things with Elias. So my best friend was Elias on Raw. The not so much the production of it because we continue to miss facial expressions and cuts and things of that nature, but the fact that he was highlighted and the show was really written for him. Even though they had everything else, that's why I know it was a high spot, but I wouldn't have wanted it or liked it I would have announced it either at the Mae Young Classic or after SummerSlam, or because this was essentially the setup for SummerSlam for everything, for all 3, you know what I mean, or 4 shows. We're throwing 205 Live in there, so for that. It was just a lot, you know.
So this is a setup for SummerSlam. Maybe it's a lot, but
the pay-per-view.
Do you think that they had the album is a setup for SummerSlam? I mean, that's something else too. It's a 3-hour show, mind you.
What I'm saying is
they can fit in the woman's announcement.
Well, what I'm saying is that how it. When I'm saying the show was written in Elias, how the script was written in Elias, you can tell that the add-in plug-in for Michael Cole on commentary was plugged in from the back and was a write-in from earlier in the day. You know what I mean? Like this, I know the projection of what they possibly could have had for SummerSlam is what they're setting up for. Obviously, we sat through 4 hours of NXT because they know what they're setting up for SummerSlam for. I think WWE as a whole has that whole mentality where they know that upcoming week was going to be Samoa Joe and AJ. They know that we're really getting Miz, Daniel Bryan for SummerSlam. They know that we're about to get Roman and Brock for SummerSlam. They know we're about to get Seth and Dolph again at SummerSlam. Like, you know what I mean? Like, SummerSlam really came together this week. Yeah. And this pay-per-view, which is happening in October, really...
It could have been enough flavor. I hear you, and I'm not going to argue that. It was still a great moment, and that's why it was my high spot. Just to piggyback on the Elias stuff, you said it wasn't well-produced. I think it was wonderfully produced. I think Elias is always well-produced. There were so many good shots of him. There was so many good shots of him with the other people interrupting him, shots of them interrupting him and him. And then they have one shot with somebody walking down the rampway and Elias is just staring them like this bastard. From the same shot, the guy's walking down the rampway, you can see Elias in the background. It was greatly produced. And I know I'm not talking about produced right, but that was my best produced this week. You said it wasn't well produced. It was my best produced week because they got eyes on his album throughout the 3 hours of show, and they had it's just the way they shoot him. You know, the light comes down, Elias is sitting there, he has the guitar. It's like a concert every single time, like a live concert. I think they produce Elias, probably one of the best people produced on the roster always. That's and true. Having him on come out every single time and get interrupted, it was comedic, and it was getting people to see, oh, he has an album. Oh, he has an album. Repeated repetitive getting him in front of people that, hey, here's the album here, reminding people. And if you didn't tune in the first hour, you're seeing him in the second hour. If you didn't tune in the second hour, you're seeing him in the third hour. And guess what? Go see his album. Go tune into iTunes. That's money right there. That's looks. That's listens. Those are plays. Those are streams. So that's why I think that was the best produced this week, even though we weren't talking about best produced.
And that's why I said written wise. Well, I mean, I guess we can both. It can be both. Mm-hmm. It can be written well because I think that I don't necessarily consider that production. As far as the aspect of plugging him, you know what I mean? I think that constant promotion is written into the script. Okay. You know what I mean? But as far as the presentation of him goes, you know what I mean? Definitely, he's very unique in the way that he's presented. You know, with the spotlight, with the stew, with the guitar strung, and I mean, since we're at the best produced, do you want to just go?
No, we're actually at worst written, to be honest. I mean, but if you want to go to best produced, we can just skip.
We'll have to skip. We can just
and we'll get back to that later on.
We can just go out of order.
Yeah, so I just got my best producer out the way. You talk about your best producer of the week.
My best producer of the week was AJ and Samoa Joe. I mean, AJ and Samoa Joe, we kind of been wanting it for a long time. It may be one of the best non-WWE feuds of the last 15 years if you kind of follow them in TNA. They got it in. Joe and AJ and Angle and Joe. Like, let's throw Christopher Daniels in there too. Can't forget about, so TNA really put them two guys on the map. And so for them to finally have the kind of big platform, per se, which will be SummerSlam, I definitely am excited for that. And the presentation and the production of who's going to be AJ's new opponent, who's going to be AJ's next opponent, and TikTok, motherfucker, you find out who it is. It's the big bad Joe of Samoa.
Now, okay, I want to ask you think that's your best produced, but why was it produced well? I think that it was produced...
Did you not watch that segment? Did you not watch my nigga? First of all, take out the champ, present himself as the beast that he is, and then toss the table for a good little added, umph onto it. Go back and watch that segment and look at how that was presented to you as a big time feel. Hey, you want to make your world title mean something? You want to put AJ in legit peril, which he hasn't been, and he's been champ for a long time. Who's been his real competitor for that title? Okay,
my problem with this segment, and it's not a problem because it was bad. My problem with this segment is that they start with the James Ellsworth stuff, and I loved it. I loved the James. It was funny.
You always like that comedy shit.
It was funny, but my problem is that it went too fucking long. It went too long. They didn't have to show James Ellsworth going backstage and getting tossed out. They could just show him getting carried out. What they should have cut to was AJ sitting there in the ring and Joe behind him. That would have been a great shot. And they're like, oh, who's going to be his champion? And just Joe comes out from behind him, and that shot of Joe behind him. But what happened is we got James Ellsworth thrown outside of the arena, and then we cut, and Joe's already beating AJ up. It would have been great to see Joe just standing there behind AJ for a second, a beat, but they went too long with the James Ellsworth shit. So it kind of rushed. The end of the show was rushed, man. To get the whole Samoa Joe part was rushed. So I didn't like that. I want it to be more of a moment. To me, it didn't hit as much as it could. As for the match, I am so super excited to see the match. I just hope that but then again, I was super excited to see AJ Nakamura, and they fucking ran that shit into the ground. My bad. They ran that shit into the ground, stomped that bitch. It was getting, they stomped the mud hole in that fucking feud. And I don't want to see them do that to AJ and Joe. But they have history together. So did AJ Nakamura. But they have more history together than AJ Nakamura. I think they can put together a really good match at SummerSlam. Please don't let me down. I can't wait.
So I guess that sounded like that was your worst produced.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't my worst produced. It wasn't. It wasn't my worst produced. But I just had some issues with the production of that.
Well, since we're going from good to bad, we're going to loop right back into our worst written. And my worst written of the week was, I think we agreed on it. We both said it was Roman.
It was Roman, man. I mean, how can we?
I mean, we don't really need to spend too much time on it, do we? Like we've been talking about Roman ad nauseum on this podcast. It's gonna be Roman and Brock at SummerSlam. Bobby and Roman had a fantastic main event. That's what you want out of a main event on Monday Night Raw. I would have loved to see Bobby go over because, for one, it would have been refreshing, and for two, I'm rooting for niggas that's black.
He's black.
But Roman and Brock.
I really, really, really want to see Bobby versus Lashley. Brock. Bobby versus Lashley. Bobby versus Brock at SummerSlam.
And he's the silver one, people.
Yeah, for real. Bobby versus Brock at SummerSlam because it's brand new. Everybody's been clamoring for this match, and everybody's been shitting on Roman and Brock. And we saw what happened at WrestleMania with the boos. We're gonna get the same thing in New York.
Oh man, if you thought New Orleans was bad with 70,000, I don't think they'll have shit on 20,000 in New York.
Part of me feels like that's what they're counting on as WWE. They're counting on us hating this match and booing it. And in my mind, I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? Like, why? Is it just to get... I mean, I really am confused as to why they perpetuate this match over and keep giving us this shit over and over again. Just they should have thrown the belt on at WrestleMania. If they didn't do it at WrestleMania, they should have gave them that fucking Greatest Royal Rumble.
We did this show already.
And I'm not trying to go off on it, but I'm telling you why it's the worst written. Because at this point, your guy, the baby face, right now, has been a crybaby for about 5 months. Loses to Bobby Lashley.
But we can't keep saying he's the guy. Like, look down at NXT. Who's the right for NXT? It didn't matter who that champion was. They built for 2 years on the low Johnny Wrestling to be the face of NXT. He replaced what was Finn Balor, who replaced Sami Zayn, right?
Yeah.
It didn't matter who, like, Johnny is the show at NXT, and it's going to bubble over to where you kind of see that, and it's undeniable. Roman, in the case, is the opposite because he's the shield, no pun intended, for who the real guy of the future will be. Roman is going to be a great asset, but I think organically it's not going to happen until he has the main feud where he's a heel against Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is the only guy who can make Roman Reigns. The only guy. And the only way he can make Roman Reigns is if you cap off WrestleMania 35 in New York as Roman either going in as a heel or coming out as a heel. That's it. Uh-huh.
It's history from there, right?
It's history from there.
Yeah,
I think, but the reason why I say that is that that's why I say, but for the low, over time, they've been making Seth Rollins really, you know what I mean? Uh-huh. Like the guy, because you need to have a guy to put a guy over.
Yeah, you
know what I mean?
You need that hot baby face to have that hot heel to make the territory run. And so I completely get the logic of that.
Because when Johnny gets the championship...
But what I have a problem with is that right now, this is fucking SummerSlam, man. This is fucking SummerSlam.
Nigga, SummerSlam...
We can hold off on this Roman shit.
CT, first of all, you're talking about SummerSlam like it's been good, nigga. We had a struggle. I was like, give me a Randy Orton babyface moment, and our fucking last SummerSlam of him being a babyface was a 2-minute match of him getting Haraway with Brock Lesnar.
That was Night of Champions. That was not SummerSlam. SummerSlam was AJ and John Cena last year.
No, not last year.
Oh, was that SummerSlam?
That was SummerSlam, nigga.
Oh, okay. Anyways, that's still irrelevant to my point. My point is that you want to have the best show. It's supposed to be one of your best. It's supposed to be one of your best shows of the year, and you got to give us the same main event you gave us at WrestleMania that got shat on. It's redundant. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And if you're in New York for that show, chant, we want something new. something new, clap, 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 claps. Just
No,
come
what?
up. Yeah, just chant that shit. Something new. You know, just something new. Because we need something new, man. Send the message loud and clear to WWE.
Relax,
we want something
relax,
new. Maybe I should relax, but
you should
it's redundant. Let's put it out.
Because you're marking out. Because again, business wise, we're saying it. Like, once Roman makes the heel run or the nonchalant tweener that like stuck in that night, like once we turn this babyface off and make him a nonchalant tweener who's like, yeah, I do good work, I'm a good guy, like I don't hurt nobody, I'm about my business, but if you mess with me, I'll punch you in your face. That's money. That's a guy that can go on TV. You know what I mean?
So who are the kids gonna buy the merch now? It's gonna be Seth?
It's still gonna be, bro. You got to think about
after Roman turns heel. So I think that's the reason why they keep him this way. Because right now
he's not
the kids buy his merch.
He's not a heel. He's a tweener though.
A tweener.
But that's what I'm saying.
The kids buy his merch and the guys hate him. So he's a heel for us and he's a face for the kids. So if he turn him heel,
I don't think he's a face for the kids per se, because my thing is, again, when our baby faces, we grew up with them and we changed with them at the same time. So when it was Bret Hart, you cheered Bret Hart whether he was with the Canadian Stampede or he was the good guy giving shades to kids on the front row because you just like Bret Hart. So when you look at Roman Reigns, you're gonna fight.
That was me though. Kids down. I don't know, man.
But I mean,
like when Stone Cold turned, that broke a lot of hearts. When Hulk Hogan turned, that broke a lot of hearts. You know.
But that also gained a lot of fans too. That perpetuated and blew up the business.
I don't think Stone Cold did.
What?
When he turned heel, that's pretty much known as a bad decision. Like, you know,
Stone Cold turning heel created the greatest chant in wrestling history. Which is what?
That was not the greatest. Probably the worst chant. I hate that chant. It's probably the worst.
And it gave us the best. Because Stone Cold couldn't wrestle, so it gave us our. Oh my god!
But my point stands. It did not blow the business up like Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan turning heel, yes. Stone Cold turning heel did not blow the business up. Roman turning heel, I think has a potential because it's been so long and we didn't get John Cena. So please give us Roman.
Stop playing.
All right, let's wrap that up. Also, worst written. Also, is the woman being written throughout the night?
Yo, nigga, I just
No, here's the thing. The worst, because you know why? The first segment was so organic and so real that when they write in people backstage saying, "Oh my God, are you excited to see the woman pay-per-view Evolution?" It seems so fucking fake. Nigga, I'd rather have Finn Balor have a camera confessional, the camera on him, saying, "Hey man, I've watched these women fight and fight and fight for their place here, and they're finally getting it. I'm so proud of them." Rather than have Finn Balor say, "Hey, who was he talking to? Forget who he's talking to." I was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm so excited for this Evolution thing. Can't wait." You know, people, and they did it over and over again. Bo Dallas is like, "Oh yeah." And Cruz was like, "Yeah, you were excited to see Alexa Bliss, man. Bitch, you work with Alexa Bliss. You see her every night. You're gonna see her again on pay-per-view." Yeah, like it was stupid the way they wrote it throughout the night. I think the moment to start the night off was great, but the way they wrote it throughout the night was so fake and so corny. You know, if you want to, highlight the Evolution pay-per-view throughout the night, show the package and then show people actually talking to the camera and being real about how they feel about the woman getting that pay-per-view and the moment that this is, the importance of it. Make it real. Don't make it this, "Hey, yeah, I'm really happy for these women. So proud." In writing wise, because they didn't perform it well, and it was just garbage. So that was badly written. That's all. So it's Roman. Let's squash the worst written, and let's go into worst produced.
My worst produced will probably be something you don't notice or haven't noticed because you probably don't watch it. 205 Live. The goddamn Lucha House Party. Or as Millie would call them, the Mexican New Day. Hashtag Mexican New Day. Oh, man.
Damn it.
Yeah.
What the fuck are they doing with them?
Yes.
They had a segment or a backstage promo where they're talking to the camera, and they're just goofing off and just saying dumb shit. It was just produced poorly.
Yeah,
and it just made them look cheap. And like a cheap gimmick, and I think Kalisto's one of the most talented luchadors I've seen in a very long time.
Yes, Kalisto was
him and Phoenix. Phoenix is, oh my god, Phoenix. I saw some shit he did a Slamversary, unbelievable. Phoenix is Phoenix is unreal. But Kalisto, he's great. He's great, and to see him stuck here with Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik, both of them are great too. It's just sad, man. And
I don't know what's going on with them.
They're getting their ass beat by Drew Gulak every week. And
they got destroyed by Drew Gulak, and now they come out and wrestle jobbers or enhancement talent, local talent.
With noisemakers
Dorado almost killed himself, or I won't say kill himself, but I think it was a Tope Suicida in my Moro voice, but he clipped himself, and good
tumbled.
Yeah, good catch by the local talent. Yeah. But that could have been bad, and the reason why that's the reason why I made it my worst produced. That just capped off. Even though they got the win, that botch just capped off what they are as a botch. Them dudes are a botch. So, sorry, man. Sorry, Lucha House Party.
It's derivative, man. It's like you take these guys who are Mexican and just make them what their common denominator is. Oh, what is Mexican people? They're people who like to have fun and use noise and are loud and just goof. It's just sad. It's just not something that you could be like. Come on, luchadors have such a rich history of being tremendous fighters and tremendous talent.
Yeah,
it's just not good. So that's that for worst produced.
Well, so
because I agree that like we're both on the same page with that worst produced.
So now that we have wrapped up kind of what our normal weekly things is, let's get into what will be added to our weekly things that we discuss, which is our character flashlight.
Yeah, the new segment we debuted last week.
So again, if you wasn't with us, your first time hearing us, our character flashlight. Our miniature character spotlights, you can find on our SoundCloud page, where we just highlight it in detail or in long form, a superstar or a wrestler that we kind of appreciate. So our character flashlights is something we'll do week to week on someone who made strides and something that we see have made strides to just be better and not have anything to do with anybody in the back giving them something to say as far as being a script or being produced well. Just if we see you and we notice the growth in you as a performer. So my character flashlight is actually a commentator. It's going to be Percy Watson. I was not a really big proponent or was not a really big guy on him. So it's good to see him. It's good to see him.
Percy Watson has totally gotten a lot better. He's gotten a lot better. He's making a lot of better calls lately. He hasn't been redundant. He hasn't been a gimmick. He's been real. He's given insight to the matches that adds to it. It's not like, because you can always say as a commentator or color commentator just what's happening in the ring. Oh, he just gave the guy a DDT. It's like, nigga, we all saw that he gave him a DDT. You got to give us something extra that we are not seeing, or make a reference that we are not seeing to make us completely get what's going on there. Percy Watson made okay calls. He made some, and he's getting better with the calls he's making as he goes along. So I'm loving seeing his growth as a color commentator, and I hope he gets better. We see him on NXT, and I think he's doing 205 Live now too. So shout out to Percy Watson, you're doing your thing. My character flashlight is going to go to an NXT superstar, a woman's NXT superstar, Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans, shout out to you.
Semper Fi?
Yeah, shout out to the Marines. Shout out to Lacey Evans being one of our new woman in NXT that I think is going to be a women's champion one day. I see it written all over her that she is women's champion material. She has a solid gimmick with her women's rights, kind of like old school women's rights, women empowerment age. classical, regal. Like, what's the word for it? It's more classy type of vibe that she's giving. Her in-ring work is getting better. She has some moves, some that I'm seeing she's implementing that are brand new. She's powerful. Yeah, I saw her in NXT last week live, and that girl is cut, man. Like, she's built. So she's taking care of herself. She got a nice body, nice look, nice gimmick. She can talk on the mic a little bit. I've seen her backstage segments. So I think she's just putting together everything right now. Things are really clicking for her right now, and I think she can. I'm curious to see how she improves from now on. Her heel persona, I think, is she has a solid heel persona. She's a solid heel persona that I think can go very far in the business.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with you. Lacey Evans, for one, she's a Marine. For two, she's a female Marine. And yes, there is a difference because they're tougher than we are. And for three, her progression, if we would have asked, like, if Lacey Evans, you didn't care for her 6 months ago. You know what I mean? So to see Lacey Evans kind of make the character development progressions that you need in order for you to captivate, and also a heel, man. Women heels still make money, especially if you know how to do it right. You know what I mean? So I love the tenacity she brings to the ring. I love the attitude. I love that she can have a positive message if they do want to flip her. You know what I mean? So shout out to Lacey Evans. I think Lacey Evans can be a good contender to a good babyface. I'm not sure who that babyface will be because I think right now Bianca Belair is that tweener that maybe kind of be classified as a heel. Dakota Kai is that lovable babyface, but do I want to see Dakota Kai and Lacey Evans? Candice?
It's Candice.
Ooh, but they just wrestled recently, right?
No, maybe they have, but they did. I don't remember. But I'm talking about a feud,
like an actual program. That's the baby face that can do it. And also, Candice LeRae, let's get it going, okay? I'm lying. I was gonna say you're resting on your loins, but you just haven't had a program that hasn't been outside of Johnny. You know what I mean? And so since Johnny is attached in a real emotional championship feud, I think to detach Candice, she needs to be put in her own feud, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Lacey Evans. I think she's doing a great job. I like what she's doing. So that was a good flashlight by you, CT.
Yeah.
So going into our next segment of the week, and which is pretty much one that may be our staple, is Booking Black. And you brought it up to me who you wanted to do, so go ahead and take it over.
This week, excuse me. For Booking Black, we're going to go with Apollo Cruz. This week on Raw, we had AOP come out, talk their shit, saying that, we're done with this whole Titus Worldwide bullshit. We want some new competition. We want to fight anybody but Titus Worldwide. And guess who comes out? But Titus Worldwide. And so I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm like, all right, they're on TV. Let me see what they're going to go with. They just lost last week. Let's see what happens now. And they give a promo that's not bad. It wasn't great, but it was not bad. It was based on Apollo saying, you got to respect this guy. They were showing AOP love too. So they were respecting them, but they were saying for Titus, it was based on Titus. Titus is being a great father and a community activist for his community. So I think that's what the vein you hit with Titus. I think that's where you should go with Titus. But for Apollo Cruz, is that why I'm bringing him up as my character. My Booking Black segment this week is that he performed well on the mic for the first time. For the first time, I believed him on the mic. And I was like, all right, Apollo Cruz, you actually delivered your lines in a way that I'm like, all right, he means this. And it was something that I don't think was very hard to do because I think Apollo has a bond with Titus right now. I think that Apollo respects Titus, real life, real shit. I think Titus respects that man, and he looks at him as a mentor in the business. So it's easy to go out there and to talk about how you should respect him, how you should respect this guy who may fall down all the time, but he's getting back up, and he is a positive influence on his community, and he's a great dad. And he said it with emphasis, and you could see so you felt like it was real. It came from a real place. It was guttural, real emotion, and that's why I want to talk about him when Booking Black, because if Apollo Crews can perform like that and perform on the mic that way on a more consistent basis, then he has a higher ceiling than I thought before. And I think that we all know Apollo Uha Nation could go. It's not a dispute. But can he be a character for the WWE? That's a whole different thing. You know, being in the Indies and you can get over it with just your work. Right now, Apollo Crews is missing any character development whatsoever.
I think that's why it wasn't great to bring him up from NXT, because you're seeing that with Ricochet.
Yeah, I think that was a bad idea too.
You know what I mean? So we're talking about Booking Black. I would like to go ahead and take it all the way back. You know what I mean? Because he could have really developed there and could have found himself as far as what a character they wanted to present. You know what I mean? And
I think they saw like a built, athletic black guy who's actually
but again,
can go.
Again,
and they threw him up there.
Again, they did that for us to be 2 years later. He debuted at NXT Brooklyn 2, I believe. Possibly. And he's now Titus Royal Sly. So for you to say they seen an athletic black guy,
no, I'm saying that they needed somebody new that's black on the roster, and they just say, "Hey, look at this guy." I think that they hotshot him because he's black.
I don't think
and he's good,
but that's what I'm saying. He's not good because we haven't.
He's good in the ring, and he's physically. Look at him. You know, he's
again Booking Black. This is our segment to say, let's strip it down. He has not been presented well to show any type of versatility.
My point is this. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying they shot-shotted him. He's too fast. But the reason why they did it is because they need to fill a body, to make it diverse. You know, the roster. It was a bad idea. It's not what they should have done. They should have gave him some more time in NXT to develop that character. Because if anybody needed it, it was him. You know, I would love to see him had a long program with Andrade.
Why can't he just
if
go
he had
back
a program
down
with
there?
Andrade, that would have been dope.
Why he can't go back down there? Like you've done it before.
There's too many people in NXT right now. It's stacked.
Who cares? And it's not stacked.
He's gonna be.
It's not
lost
stacked
in the
when
shuffle. He's lost shuffle right now on the Raw roster, but he's lost in the shuffle. He won't
be.
NXT.
No, he won't be because
it's only an hour.
It's written better. They take care of their characters better. It's development there. He doesn't have to worry. He can actually work with a coach. Titus isn't a coach. Titus is a good professional. But what has Titus done to get over, nigga? Who
are they going to push? Who are they going to show love to? They're not going to show it to Apollo Crews after his run on the main roster. They're going to show it to the Ricochets, the Adam Coles, the EC3s, the Velvet
CT, are you not paying attention to what I'm saying is that people go down to NXT to reinvigorate their career? That's what I'm saying.
I'm not disputing that.
But that's what I'm saying. We're Booking Black. He's not doing anything right now. So why not take him down to NXT and give him a feud? Because you're bringing up Velveteen Dream. You're bringing up Aleister Black. You're bringing up Adam Cole. Those guys are not staying in NXT very long. You know what I mean? Like, once Johnny Gargano goes up to the main roster, he's not going to the main roster. They're taking his ass to 205.
It all depends on what's the roster looking like. And if the roster's looking light,
Johnny's 107.
Right now, at this moment, you can't bring him to the
Right now, at this moment, you can. Right now, at this moment, you can definitely bring him down to NXT.
I totally disagree.
Because, I mean, why not? Ricochet and Adam Cole, they're getting their feud out the way on SummerSlam. What are they going to do with the rest of their time?
My point.
I'm saying, I'm asking you. Because talent-wise, EC3, you think he's going to be... Bobby Roode was hot-shotted because that's EC3's role. He's going to have a feud, and he's going to send his ass up to the main roster. You act like you're saying it's stacked. He's gonna be lost in the shuffle. They can easily make room for him at NXT, just like they did Tyson Kidd, just like they did Cesaro.
That was a different time.
That roster was stacked down there, man.
That was a different time, and they brought him down for a little while, and that was when it was just getting. They were just getting it off the ground NXT, so it made sense to bring people that you can see and notice from the main roster.
They wasn't doing anything with.
When's the last time they brought somebody down? Zack Ryder. You know, that's the last time they brought somebody down. They don't do that now because they don't have space on the roster. I'm telling you, they're going to work with their PC guys more than they're going to work with Apollo Crews.
It's not so much working with him. It's, again, the television and production that you see on NXT is just Nick Jr. of WWE. If you just take him down there and not so much that they of course they're gonna work with the development guys, but they're invested in Apollo Crews already. Why not continue to invest in Apollo Crews? Why not say, hey, it's baseball. Send him to the minors. Polish him up a little bit.
All right, I think you give them too much credit. And
how do I give them too much credit when they literally just bought the whole block of where we live at?
Dude, I think you give them too much credit. I'm not talking about business with the block. That's different. I'm talking about too much credit with booking for Apollo Crews in NXT right now. It's too much credit. I think you give them too much credit to say, oh, they can find a spot for him. I don't trust them.
How don't you trust NXT when they've done everything right?
It's not NXT per se. It's that I don't trust them right now, putting him there to capitalize on him in the way. You know what? Maybe if you...
We literally just said if we give Triple H the book for booking the women, he can do it. Triple H has the book down at NXT. He can make things work. He has 3 months to make these women who are...
Okay, let me ask you a question. What do you think Apollo Crews' ceiling is?
Apollo Crews' ceiling could be an Intercontinental Champion. He could be
what that's how you see it. Then
exactly.
Then fuck it, bring him down to NXT. I'm looking at him that I want to see him bigger than that. You know,
he's not big. He's not in the vein of Big E because he's not going to draw like Big E. He's a good mid carder, which is fine. And I would love to see him in an Intercontinental title feud. I would have loved to see him turn on Titus. I would love because it shows character development at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And once you do that, and like you said, you started off and saying him on the mic. He has improved on the mic, but just how Ricochet couldn't have just been signed and then hot shotted to the main roster, he need that time to develop and not just NXT taping and then takeover and then send him up. He needed a run.
He did. He did have a run. He was in there for like 6 months. He was there for. It wasn't long, but it wasn't longer than just 2 tapings. And he had a couple of. He had a title match with Samoa Joe. I think he had a couple of things happen over there in NXT for a while. It just was way too soon. It was like right after WrestleMania, like after he debuted that summer. It was ridiculously fast for him. I'll say right now, Andrade and Apollo Crews in a feud would be dope.
I mean, and still, Andrade's ceiling is a mid-carder. So, again, if you're saying that would be... I don't see Andrade as a world champion. I see Andrade as a U.S. champion.
I beg to differ.
Andrade's not a world champion. Not in
a transitional champion, I think he's a ceiling. Especially because he's Latino. And he can move. And especially with Zelina Vega at his side... They need that vein. They need that pocket. And I think he could be transitional champion. Now, we'll see.
I mean, if you're talking about him getting a title because he's Latino, then nigga, a black champion has been due for the past umpteen years.
But they cater towards, I think, a Latino fan base more because of Mexico.
Which is a problem that
that's why we haven't. Alberto had the title for mad long. They cater towards a Spanish demographic more than a black demographic. That's just what it is. That's why I say Andrade has a higher ceiling than Apollo Crews. But, yeah, that's my booking black. I think that he has shown me that he has more to give. And that heel turn is going to come. I think that we're going to get that.
Which would be so good, man. It would be so good. Listen, that, whatever, and I get it, what they're trying to do, with him and Titus Worldwide and Titus O'Neil and backing him up. But I think if I was booking him, which is the segment, I would book him into heel, and it looks like that maybe Seth may get the belt back. You talking about Andrade's and Apollo, Seth and Apollo. Seth and Apollo can be a real kind of like Night of Champions match, a filler pay-per-view. It doesn't have to be a main type of, but it gives them some time, because when you put them on a big card, you don't really have a lot of time, but you put them on a Night of Champions and say, hey, you got 12 minutes, I think they can go ahead and burn that house down.
And if you don't know about Apollo Crews, if you don't know about his skills, look him up. Go back and watch his stuff as Uha Nation in the Indies. Go back and watch his stuff at NXT. Go watch him, when you just go back and watch his stuff so you'll get why we think he has his potential. I know that they haven't portrayed him very well in the past couple years. So some of you might be hearing us and be like, really, Apollo Crews, Intercontinental Champion? But trust me, go watch his stuff, and all he needs is that character development. Once he gets that, he's off to the races. So, with that said, that's our Booking Black segment. Let's move on to Business and Logic and wrap this shit up.
Yeah, man. My Business and Logic segment is dedicated to a bro of mine, the bro. The super king of bros. Matt Riddle has been rumored to be making his debut, or his NXT or WWE debut very soon.
His crowd shot, his NXT crowd shot today, the iconic NXT crowd. Guess who's here in the front row?
Yeah.
Just happens to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle.
So business wise, I think this is super fantastic for him and for them. I think they are getting a transitional superstar.
He's a transitional or transcending?
Transcending superstar.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they're getting a transcending superstar. If you know who Matt Riddle is and are familiar with his work, you just kind of know that he's super fan friendly, for one.
Yeah.
And for two, he has a great look.
Uh-huh.
And
dude's ripped.
And for three, he's legit.
Yeah.
So,
he's a worker, man. He's a great talent.
Shooters.
He's a great talent. But I will say, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, can he stay off the weed? You think that's possible?
Does it? I mean, I think it's possible. Weed comes in different forms now, so he doesn't have to necessarily smoke it to get high.
Okay.
But
isn't it in your system? THC is gonna come up.
No, I mean,
no
you can CBD, dog. You can do oils. You can hit wax. Like, come on, man.
THC is gonna be in your system still.
Riddle's been getting high. If he wants to get high, he'll find a way. And if he just wants to pay the fine, he'll pay the fine. If he wants to stop so he can just get through training, I mean, think about it.
Because we all seen cautionary tales like RVD, where RVD, he's just incredible. But we all know RVD could have been so much more in WWE. But maybe his personality and his drug use may have hindered him. So, I mean, we don't want to see him hindered. We want to see him reach the heights of the height that he can get. And I'm just wondering if that's going to be a issue. I'm not judging at all because, I mean, you do your thing, bro. But that's what I'm curious.
Super excited because the bro's going to be in Orlando, so it's going to be Applebee's galore whenever the homie cut. The dude can scarf down like two for 20s by himself. Mm-hmm. I saw him out eat Jeff Cobb one time.
Oh, well, I'm gonna be like I'm not sure about him eating and all that stuff, but I will be seeing him at NXT. I'm looking forward to it. If he shows up, I would love to see how they're gonna work with him and see who will he face, who will he fight, the stories they can tell with him, and he's just a likable character. You've met the guy. I haven't met the guy, but just seeing him. From what I've seen, he just seems super likable.
He's super likable, man. As a PA for MLW, when he worked a couple spots there before the TV deal, because contractually with Evolve, he couldn't be on TV. And once we found that out, we kind of already knew where we were going with that. But he was great to work with. Bruce said he's a delight to work with as far as, producing for him and with him and stuff like that. Go watch his match with Shane Strickland. Any of them, I would suggest you watch the one from MLW, but I think they had one in Defy.
It was crazy.
They have great
chemistry. They tore the house
chemistry.
down in MLW at least. I was there that night. That was crazy.
So I think as far as, like I said, business goes, I think he will be a guy that can, since their population is white, you know what I mean? For him to come in as who he's going to be already, packaged with the kind of WWE push, I think he, with the legitimacy of you. especially listen, man. I know I'm hyperbole right now, but if Brock keeps the title and Matt Riddle and Brock Lesnar
anytime soon.
I know not anytime
soon.
Because
if you want to talk business and logic, we hear about another MMA guy coming through. Sorry, excuse me. Cain Velasquez. He was as we saw him at NXT taping, and there's whispers of him possibly signing with WWE.
Man,
and he's a huge wrestling fan, so
that would be
a possibility.
And
he's the guy who knocked Brock Lesnar out.
Was it Cain Velasquez?
Cain knocked him out and won in the first round. Huh. So that is already built in the storyline if they were to go that route.
Well, would you look at that? Mm-hmm. Something else is a little lighter on my radar, but I'm still got my antennas up. There's a little conspiracy theory going on. Of course, it's just the internet wrestling community, just being the internet wrestling community, but ROH, New Japan, and WWE having some type of talent exchange was something that was whispered around, and I mean that's basically what they do already.
Kinda.
I mean, you know what I mean? Hey, let me get Shinsuke, let me get Finn, let me get the Good Brothers, let me get AJ.
So yeah, they got they do that. So the writing is on a wall that is some kind of conspiracy that they're all working together. WWE is bankrolling ROH and New Japan in some ways, low key. And I highly doubt it, but I would say that's a really genius thing if WWE did try to do that and keep it under the wraps and keep it low key, because we have all these cynical fans who just go, oh, fuck WWE, watch ROH, fuck WWE, watch New Japan. And if they're already bankrolling those shows, then it's like, nigga, we get in your bag anyways. Honestly, they're working for us, so essentially WWE.
Well,
with just them product.
One of the things that also...
But I don't think that's happening.
One of the things that got me kind of my radar earlier thinking about this was when the Fox deal really went through, and I remember ROH being on Fox. So I'm like, damn, Sinclair just got booted, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, where are they going to be, you know what I mean? Like, where can Sinclair get another, TV deal from, or, where would it be shown? Because that's where I would see ROH. I would see it on free TV on Fox, used to come on. But now thinking about it, man, if I know WWE would be territorial, but to draw,
it's essentially gonna be a monopoly.
It would be, you know what I mean, for them to have power over everything. I don't see why it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where these companies are still independently owned, mm-hmm. but they have a working relationship with WWE. Because
influence, they have influence, and it could be a bad thing, it could be a good thing, but I think that they'll let them do their thing. I think WWE will let them do their thing.
Yeah, and I don't know what the bad thing would be about that, though.
Yeah, I just don't like a company having that much influence in any industry at the top like that at all, because then the culture does change. The culture does get trickled down. The culture does get influenced by the main thing at the top, and I just don't like that. When you have a Microsoft running shit, we have one way of operating a computer, and for years until Apple, gets their vein. Now we have two, but it's still like you're still stuck. Yeah, so you got that. But when it comes to New Japan, Lucha Underground, not Lucha Underground, sorry. Let's say all the indies, WWE. I want to ask you this really tough question: is Impact, Lucha, and MLW under ROH and New Japan? Like, do you see WWE at the top, then it's ROH, New Japan, and then the next tier is Impact, Lucha Underground, and MLW? Is that how you see it? Because that's how I see it.
I guess you can say that because I will put MLW
just because of their licensing.
I would say MLW. Well, honestly, man, WWE of course is at the top. ROH as far as being known and creating stars and New Japan for their legacy, of course, would be second tier for where you want to go. And I would agree with kind of how that pyramid falls. I do like to say that between Impact, Lucha, and New Japan, they do, from a production aspect, bring something different that, New Japan is always grainy to me. You know what I mean? It's always shot on
it's like a little bit more, what's the word? It's not hardcore. It's
grainy,
brutal, kind of like stiff shots. It's to make you feel like.
I'm just the production wise.
Yeah, production wise. But I think it's purposely. I think it's purposely grainy to make it feel different.
I mean, but when we're in a world of HD, bro.
It's Japan. They know that.
I understand. I don't watch TV if it's standard. That's what I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can try. We'll search through YouTube just to find a clearer video. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It may be the only video out there. You know what I mean? But so when it comes to production wise, and ROH always looks. I can't say anything about ROH because ROH and MLW are kind of in the same vein as far as how small the venues that they run. Okay. You know what I mean? Impact is the same way because they run a pretty small venue. Lucha, as far as the presentation goes, TV-wise, presented to me, and MLW, how it's presented to me, I love how that is done as far as they're not too caught up on it being necessarily just a TV show.
But that's more of a taste thing, That's how you see it, and that's subjective.
I think once MLW, outside of the infancy, once they start getting a few more recognizable stars other than the ones of yesteryear, if they start getting a lot more independent, like they kind of, I don't want to say they catapulted Joey Janela because Joey Janela's name was completely out there, but the partnership of having Joey Janela with MLW kind of boosts the both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna happen. Like Shane Strickland is next. You know what I mean? Yeah. Shane's gonna be in NXT really, really soon, and I think it's gonna be because of the work that is shown through MLW.
Absolutely.
So I think that I don't have any problem with kind of what's presented there. I do think that MLW kind of if they continue with the steam that they have, if they're able to utilize their resources and get talent like a Rich Swann, like a ACH, like a John Hennigan, like a Low Key, respectable names that still have cachet outside. Like I think Hennigan bounces.
Sammy Callahan.
Sammy Callahan. Like I think they can go and draw at ROH and New Japan.
Absolutely.
If they wanted to bump up in that tier.
You got Su Yung, who is just, she's a unique being in herself.
Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah, Jimmy Havoc.
Yes.
Do they have a women's division? Because Su Yung just comes in there and just whoops some men's ass.
I don't think they have a women's division, but they do have women wrestlers.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I remember the first night I saw a couple of women wrestlers, but they don't have a division yet. And I think that getting Su Yung to come over there and do her spots with those, enhancement talents, I think
epic. That's what kind of puts. I would like to put Impact up there with New Japan and ROH actually, because that's what without Impact, without TNA, that's where we don't get a rejuvenation of Kurt Angle or Sting or.
It's just their image is so tarnished, but I think with Slammiversary happening, it's helping rebuild over time.
And what made me think about that, I'm sorry about that, but what made me think about putting them up there is when you mentioned women division.
Okay.
Their women division impacted WWE's women division.
True.
If you want to talk, if we want to get, you know what I mean.
You want to get real with it. That's
like
honest truth.
Having their knockout division. You know what I mean. It kind of revolutionized, showing that in this new day and age of workmen,
if you let them go, they can actually go. And WWE is giving them 3-minute matches, 5-minute matches, or not even 5 minutes, 3-minute matches. It's that's when people are like, wait, we know women can go. Why are we not seeing it on the main?
Trish and Lita really main evented a Raw, and Trish had I don't think she had any wrestling experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Before doing a main her seeing Trish Stratus, we saw the legit progression and character development of a person who
just a fitness model coming in,
no
and had no experience,
no nothing.
Was just a valet,
taking her first bump.
Yeah, and then starting to build her character and build her in-ring style. Trish, I have so much respect for Trish. She's an OG, man.
So watching that and then the knockout and having Gail Kim leave,
and I don't mean to shit on Trish and Lita, but after Trish and Lita, they legit didn't invest,
and they didn't.
They didn't invest. They didn't,
and that's and like I said, TNA put that pressure on them.
Yeah,
TNA put that pressure on them, just like New Japan kind of put that pressure on them. The partnership and the talent exchange of ROH. And listen, I don't want to say pressure in the sense of any. WWE feels no pressure, but WWE also knows as an entity they're an entertainment company, but at the end of the day they're a wrestling company.
Yeah, and they need to evolve wrestling wise.
And they need to evolve wrestling wise, and by seeing others do it, just how with special effects or CGI or technology. Samsung came up on Apple's ass. You know what I mean? And it made Apple improve, and it pushed each other. So
that's why I feel like down the line, NXT's model will take over the main roster down the line. I think that NXT is going to push eventually the main roster to be more influenced by the buzz that it creates. When you have 5-star pay-per-views consistently, it's just about a matter of time. I'm not saying it's going to be next year. I'm not saying it's going to be a year after that. But down the line, we're going to get a product that's a little bit more... I'm not saying exactly like NXT. I think it's going to be a little bit more... it's going to be a little bit more catered towards us because it pushes us hey, if these guys can do it, they can do it on the main roster. We know there's tons of talent on the main roster that can be written and done, performed better, or just written better in general. So, yeah. With that said, I think that brings us to the end of the show.
Yeah,
Episode 10 is a wrap. 10 episodes in.
10 episodes in.
I want to tell you guys, 10 episodes in, this has been a great experience. I love doing this. I'm excited to do it every week. We'll be around. We're here to stay. So holla at us on Twitter, Hit us up on all the medias of socialness. And RW Podcast 1 on Twitter. Hit us up on our YouTube. We got a YouTube channel, Reasonable Wrestling Podcast. We got our Facebook. We're on Instagram. Hit us up, like us, whatever you want to call them, follow, subscribe. Share.
Listen, we are just two black guys that like to watch and consume and talk about wrestling. And we listen to wrestling podcasts. We know that our audience listen to wrestling podcasts. So if you like what we're doing, also leave a comment on one of those lovely platforms.
Absolutely.
And let us know, give us feedback. We definitely would appreciate it and like it.
Your opinion matters. We're not the only ones with wrestling opinions, and we want to have some engagement with our audience. We want you guys to highlight us and let us know. We tend to have takes on takes, but we want you to have your takes on our takes. So
takes on.
Takes on takes. So if you guys have those takes, please hit us up and let us know.
Yeah, hit us up. Like you said, follow us on Twitter, at RW Podcast 1. We're on SoundCloud and YouTube, Reasonable Wrestling Podcast. Instagram, Facebook, Reasonable Wrestling Podcast. Thank you once again. Week 10.
10.